Hello everyone and welcome back to another Minecraft update video. Today it's Snapshot 21W10A and we are going to be going over everything that is new and changed in this update. So there are a couple minor changes in this update, but the biggest update is that we now have generation for Lush Caves. So you can only do this at the moment in worlds that are generated as a single biome. So as you can see, I have a lot of lush caves in this world, but this also gives us a chance to look at just how they generate. So the floor of them is mostly moss blocks, and you can see that down here. These are the new moss blocks and moss carpets. And then there's also lots of clay in here in sort of tiered water garden style. And then hanging from the ceiling, we have glowberries, and then we also have the spore blossoms. They seem to be quite spread out and quite rare though, and I believe we aren't going to be able to farm these or anything, so to be able to find them, you're going to have to search through these caves and everything. I really like the way that this biome blends into the deep slate. You can see that there's even massive versions of this. I've seen versions of this that are just in with lava, so you don't even see the floor, you just see the stuff on the ceiling. I've also seen versions that spread into the geodes, which are super interesting because you get like the geode textures with this stuff as well. You can see here we also have the drip leaves, and we have the azalea bushes as well, the flowering azalea, these really cool ones that we got last time that are like tiny trees. These glowberries can grow so long. These are fantastic. I just love that this biome comes with its own lighting sources. So right now I do have night vision turned on, but I can turn that off and you will see that, yes, look at this. So there is lighting with this biome. It's not a ton. So there's the glowberries, and there's also, sometimes you'll find the glow lichen I have seen down here growing on the clay every once in a while. Oh yeah, there you are. It's glowing on the deep slate there. So a little bit of glow lichen down here. There's another one over there. So you'll see that every once in a while. But this is just amazing. Look at this with the lava and everything. It's not the brightest. It's not bright so that it doesn't stop mob spawning. I think that that's the most important thing, is if they made it too bright, then mobs would stop spawning. But look at what's happening up there. Now, I'm wondering how this would look after a long time with the world generating. So if we random ticked these for a long time, just, yeah, see, they're going to get brighter and brighter as well, just because of the way that the game works with random ticks and these glowberries. So yeah, as the world goes on, these biomes are going to get brighter and brighter as well. So they'll be easier and easier to traverse. And there's also, I guess, the glow lichen. Does it spread? I don't think that this spreads naturally. I think you have to bone meal that. That's just vines. So we also get vines down in here that normally were only a sort of jungle thing, but now, oh yeah, look at that. As the world goes on, you're going to get these massive curtains of vines as well, because we can now place these in different directions and orientations as well. Look at that. And this is, yeah, look at that. We got the moss on the ceiling and everything. These are just fantastic blocks. Now, we do have changes other than the lush caves today. We have slightly different ore textures in the different new ones. The gold, we have less of the dark texture in there, which I like. The iron looks a little bit better as well, and we have slight changes to other things as well. We also got, and this is interesting for Mojang because they don't typically do this, but we got emerald ore, coal ore, and copper ore in deep slate. And this is interesting because these will never generate in the world. These are purely a creative block added. And Mojang does not usually do this, so this is interesting, and these are some really interesting textures that if you're building in creative mode, you will be able to use, even though these will not generate in the regular world. Now, we also got slight changes to all of the deep slate textures, so the cobbled deep slate. Now, this right here is interesting. This is the cracked deep slate tiles, and this is the cracked deep slate bricks. So these are two new textures that have been added, very similar to their stone variants, where we get a cracked variant. And on that same note, this right here, as you can see, is deep slate, but right next to it is a block called infested deep slate. So I imagine that this will be silverfish. And it's basically exactly like you find higher in the world. It's slightly different textured. You would actually be able to tell the difference if you were looking very closely, just like stone in the world, but there you go. And now supposedly the tiled version of these are also directional, so you'll be able to, I don't think that those are the tiled version, but still, yeah, when you get the tiled versions of the deep slate, they're supposedly directional now? They don't seem to be. So that's one change that may be coming. It doesn't seem to work right now. But yeah, these are the differences to the ores and the blocks that we have existing. So I've looked at the notes again, and the directional thing is actually to do with just regular deep slate. So you'll see if I break this and replace it a bunch of times, it's always the exact same orientation. But if you place one away, see, this one is a different orientation. But in its place, it will always be that orientation. This is very similar to the way that lily pads generate. I don't know if you've ever played with this, but if you place a lily pad in the same spot, it will always be in the same orientation, no matter which direction you place it. But if you place one in the next block or the next, see, this one's facing a different direction, but it'll always be that there, and this is the same way that deep slate is generating now. So it can generate in different directions, making the texture itself more random without being able to place it directionally. Now we also have changes to the way that ore generates again in the world. I'll throw that up on the screen for you. So we have more emeralds in the mountains, more lapis, less copper, gold, and redstone, which is a little bit strange. I thought that copper might remain high just because it's such a difficult thing to farm, but we now also have smaller blobs of diamonds and slightly more frequent. So they're going to be smaller groups of them, but they're going to appear more often. And then iron now generates lower in the world than it did before, but a little bit less of it. And they've also reduced the air exposure for coal, which I imagine means that you'll see it less on the outsides of mountains. Now, those are all of the gameplay updates that are slated for this snapshot to do with the Lush Caves and other updates. But one of the biggest updates that we have in this is that the game is now running OpenGL rendering instead of fixed function rendering, which essentially means that we are getting shader support in Minecraft. So this is a Java function, obviously. This is not something that Bedrock needs because it already has shader function, but this could mean that we will be getting the things that Bedrock has to do with shaders and specifically to do with possibly RTX. I'm not sure if that's a possibility with this new version of OpenGL, but that is something that is possible. You can't technically change these settings at the moment, but that is something that is going to be changing. And I think I already even noticed something to do with this. If I clear the night vision, what you see is when I am facing away from this light source, my face is dark, but when I face this light source, my face lights up, and I think this may be to do with this change. But like I said, this is something that I think that they're going to be playing with more in the future, and the fact that they have physically changed the engine that the game uses means that they have a big plan or big plans for this change to do with 1.17, hopefully. Now, the last thing for today's video, I had to head back up to the surface, but you will notice this is a fairly blank world because it is only one biome, but what you will see is a new type of tree. And we knew about this right from when they announced the update and talked about Lush Caves, but this is the azalea tree, which is actually just an oak tree with azalea leaves, but these will spawn in the world above where there is a lush cave, making it possible for you to explore in the world, find one of these trees, and basically head down and try and find the Lush Cave itself. Now these generate really interesting from what I've seen. A lot of them generate sort of really lopsided, like the top is flopping over. That one over there was really normal. But a lot of these, look over here, yeah, so that one is a little bit lopsided. This one is super like diagonally lopsided. This one is lopsided. So these trees are going to be interesting. I'm not sure if we're getting a new type of wood for under these or if these are going to remain oak. I kind of hope that this gets a new log type because right now, I mean, we have azalea leaves that are blank. We also have flowering azalea leaves, which means this is a completely new tree. So I hope it gets a new type of wood. There is precedent for it not to. I know the bushes in the jungle use like oak leaves or something, so it's not technically necessary, but I kind of hope that it gets like maybe even like a pink hued log. I know that we have the acacia, but that's not quite the same thing as if we were to get a different type of wood for this. And this is also rooted dirt that spawns around these, so this is a new texture that you'll be able to dig up on the overworld. But that is everything that is new and changed in this update. Let me know what you think of the Lush Caves down in the comments. Personally, I am a huge fan, and if you're not subscribed already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.